We already knew that Craig Cobb, this white separatist who I interviewed months ago, after finding out that he was 14% black based on a DNA test, was arrested after neighbors in Leith, North Dakota called 911 to report that he and an associate, Keenan Dutton, were threatening and approaching people with guns in an intimidating manner. Craig Cobb is 62 years old. He was arrested and charged with 3 counts of terrorism, according to the Bismarck Tribune. And the incredible thing, Lewis, that's going on is, well, there's 2 things. Number one, remember this guy, Glenn Miller, the crazy anti-Semite that we interviewed on the show? He's friends with Craig Cobb, and he's been emailing me asking to be on the show. He's like desperate to be on the show. He's saying we're afraid. He's emailing me saying that I'm not willing to have him on because he was so devastating to Jews when he was on. It's amazing the level of just the delusional nature of what he thinks is going on. And I tell him, listen, can you maybe like get us together with like a phone call into jail where Craig Cobb is being held or something, because that would really be interesting. And he's not able to do that apparently. So that's number one, that Glenn Miller is emailing me. I have 5 or 6 emails here. He says, for example, that, he says Zig Heil, for example. He says that the Jews are inevitably in deep trouble. He says, I only have guests on after saying to myself, is this guest good for Jews? And if the answer is no, then I won't have the guest on. I've got pages and pages of these emails, Lewis, from Glenn Miller. That's one thing that's going on, okay? Number 2 is that Craig Cobb is apparently on a kind of hunger strike. He's not eating. He's refused food for several days. He said he's not protesting imprisonment, but he's just practicing a form of spiritual enlightenment called Mahasamadhi. And he is planning to leave his physical body behind, which is pretty interesting stuff for a black white supremacist to be doing after being arrested for walking around town with guns.
I am shocked that he's open to something that sounds like it's not American.
Lewis, aren't the Jews somehow responsible for Mahasamadhi and imposing it as a form of political correctness and multiculturalism or something?
Something like that, and I'm sure we'll be responsible for his death if he kicks the bucket due to starvation.
Well, but that's the thing. He's not going to die. He's just leaving his physical presence behind, and he's going to be... It's kind of like in Arthur C. Clarke's 2001: A Space Odyssey, where, I think his name, Dave Bowman, where Dave Bowman is able to essentially leave his body and become kind of like a star child. That's apparently what Craig Cobb, black white supremacist, is going to be doing. I want to be there for that. That sounds huge.
It sounds pretty incredible. Let's just hope he can't do more harm in that state of being.